Okay, so everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you are on the globe, we welcome you to this information sharing session on researcher and research resources focused on, but not limited to, publicly owned databases. I'm Amy Kaneko, Secretary General of the E-Asia Joint Research Program Secretariat, as well as the Director of Japan Science and Technology Agency Singapore office. I'm very proud and privileged to moderate this session this evening in my time zone. So it was a quite surprise to me personally that we had an overwhelming response from a research community to this session, which is indicated by over 350 pre-registrations. I'm based in Singapore. And my role here in Southeast Asia is to enhance international collaboration among researchers. And for that purpose, researchers, of course, have to meet up and to be linked up. This seminar is designed to share how researchers can try to search their potential research collaborators in partner countries. I hope this seminar will be informative and productive. I also would like to thank member organizations of the E-Asia Joint Research Program, namely NCI and NIAID from America, Nhmrc from Australia, MISTI from Cambodia, Ristek Brin from Indonesia, JSD and AMED from Japan, MOSTI from Malaysia, DOST from the Philippines, RFBI from Russia, NSF from Sri Lanka, T-Cells and NSTDA from Thailand. Without their warm support and strong endorsement, this seminar wouldn't have been possible. Now, let me briefly introduce today's agenda. First of all, my colleague Yoshi from the E-Asia Program Secretariat will report on the results of the survey conducted on our partner countries. Then speakers from some of these partner countries will present their resources on researcher and research activities. Each presentation is for 10 minutes, and we'll have another 5 minutes for Q&A. I invite any and each one of you to type your questions in the Q&A box so that I can pick up some of your questions to be asked to the presenter as much as time allows. If some of the questions are not covered by live, then I'll ask the relevant presenter to type the replies in the Q&A box. After all these presentations, we'll have a discussion on how we can share these online resources, as well as whether or not there's any other options we should explore for facilitating cross-country networking. I look forward to hearing some creative ideas on this topic. So without further ado, let me invite our first speaker, my colleague, Mr. Yoshihide Kobayashi, to present the online resources survey result and potential collaboration. Yoshi, please.
Thank you, Amy-san. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, I will start. Okay, my name is Yoshihide Kobayashi of E-Asia Joint Research Program Secretariat, or E-Asia JRP Program. From the E-Asia JRP Secretariat, I will briefly report our survey results of online researcher and research project resources. Firstly, today we have audience who are not familiar with E-Asia JRP in this webinar, so I would like to start from talking about the background why we conducted this survey. EAJ JRP is the initiative formulating and supporting international joint research projects by teams composed of researchers from 3 or more countries through open joint calls for proposals. Research proposals need to be developed jointly by PIs from 3 or more countries. During management of this program, we often receive inquiries from researchers or funding member organizations as how researchers can find researchers in other countries for collaboration. So facilitating cross-country networking between researchers is a common challenge for EAJ funding member organizations in order to enable researchers to prepare joint research proposals and so that we can get as much proposal as possible in the EAJ calls for proposals. As our approach to tackle with these challenges, we have thought researchers and research project online resources can be used by researchers to find collaborators in other countries with similar research interests. To explore this, we conducted the survey to know the availability of such online resources in the EAJ member organizations countries. This slide shows the summary of our survey, overview of our survey. We implemented the survey between January, February this year. We sent survey letters by email to EAJ funding member organizations of 14 countries. Purpose of this survey is to explore availability of free online research and researcher and research projects resources like database maintained by public bodies in the 14 EAJ JRP member countries, member organization countries. This time we conducted, this time we excluded commercial websites since commercial website is beneficial only for the person who has paid subscription. And second purpose is to explore potential interest in collaboration for online resource sharing. We also requested EAJ member organizations to forward this survey to other relevant organizations with such resources if those online resources are maintained by other public organizations. But the answers we got at the end are all from EAJ funding member organizations of 13 countries. So please note that this result is based on the answers from those EAJ member organizations. I will show the main survey question here. First one is asking availability of free online research and research project resources. And second one is asking other free online resources. And third one is asking interest in information exchange or collaboration about online resources. And fourth one is asking the level of collaboration. Bracket A is not interested in the collaboration, and B is a simple collaboration, basically with no cost, like in kind, and C is collaboration with only initial development costs, like as using API interfaces. And last one, D, is most challenging with initial development cost and running costs, such as a database sharing. And from this slide, I will show our result. This slide shows the countries confirmed free online research and research project resources. Countries written as Y means free online resource with English interface has confirmed. And country written as LL means free online resource has confirmed, but only local language interface. And blank means that we couldn't confirm online resources in those countries. As a result, we could confirm online researcher resources in 5 countries and research project resources in 5 countries as well. This result means that we could confirm that 6 countries out of 13 countries have online researcher and research project resources. Before the survey, I have expected that many of user member countries have those online resources, but the result was not as much as I expected. And out of these 6 EAJ funding member organizations from 6 countries, today, 5 member organizations kindly introduced their online resources in this seminar, in this webinar. And since our time is very limited today, I don't touch upon the other online resources other than researcher and research project resources, but I show the categories of those online resources raised from the survey results. University website, university repository, STI-related ministry website, resource repository of research institute or funding organizations, clinical trial database, online journals, and last one, funding program websites such as the ASEAN-EU joint funding scheme, which is similar program like this EAJ joint research program. And this is the last slide. This slide shows the interest in online resource collaboration. Unfortunately, only HRC of New Zealand answered that no, but it's just because they don't have enough manpower to collaborate online resources currently. And EAJ funding member organizations from 9 countries showed interest of collaboration. And those organizations all indicated the preference level of collaboration is simple collaboration B, which is basically with no cost. So we think that we should discuss to start from simple collaboration, such as a mutual link in each website. Collaboration proposal from EAJ Secretariat will be introduced in the last session today. This is our report of our survey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoshi, for sharing the survey result. Now let's proceed to the information sharing of online resources to be presented from our partners, starting from Dr. Perlman, Program Director of National Cancer Institute, NCI, and Ms. Gail Burnaby, Regional Officer of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID. The presentation title is Examples of NIH Online Resources for Researchers. Dr. Paul and Ms. Gail, please go ahead. Can you please unmute yourself as well as have your videos on?
Hi, Gail, are you going to share the slides?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I cannot see your slide yet. Okay, can you make it the slide presentation format? Yes, okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so I think Gail asked that I would start by talking about a couple NCI resources initially, though these are really resources that are part of larger partnerships that NCI is engaged in. And then Gail will talk about some NIAID specific resources and then the broader NIH portfolio tools. So we can go to the next slide. So the first resource I want to talk about is the International Cancer Research Partnership. This is a 20-year-old collaboration that includes data from 142 international cancer research funding organizations. It really includes partners, some of which are part of the Asia partnership as well. But ultimately, it covers almost $8.5 billion US dollars in research and over 300,000 projects in 61 countries. Next slide. Next slide, please. So this particular tool has quite a database that allows you to really drill down on which funders are funding research in particular topics, locate research collaborators. There's sort of a geospatial map, so you can look at project sites and project locations, but you can also really dig down on sort of the investigators, who's funding the research, technical details on the science. And then really start looking at individual funding data. And so it's really a searchable database that has a lot of different dimensions to it. Next slide. The underpinning of what makes the International Cancer Research Partnership data so searchable is this common scientific outline that we have that allows us to really drill down into sort of 6 main categories, ranging from sort of basic cancer biology through diagnostics, survivorship, treatment, et cetera, further dividing that down into 35 subcategories under each of those core areas, and then there's individual coding for 47 cancer sites. This is actually linked with ICD-10, which is WHO's international standard classification for diseases and related health problems, and ultimately you're able to really drill down and sort of find refined data on individual projects. And so this makes navigating this rather large portfolio pretty easy. Next slide. One of the other things I want to talk about is the International Cancer Control Partnership. This is not a set of tools for looking at research projects, but what it is a partnership looking at really driving evidence-based policymaking and looking at implementation of evidence. Next slide. This particular partnership also comes with a lot of online resources. And this particular set of resources includes everything from cancer control policies through the integration of research and planning for research and cancer control plans, and really just has a wealth of resources that are carefully curated across all of the partnership organizations. Next slide. And then the final set of tools I want to mention, and there are several, if you sort of go through the research tools on the National Cancer Institute website, you'll find sort of a lot of tools like this, but the one that I think is particularly interesting is our implementation science online resources, which includes really initially a set of research tools that includes educational webinars, articles, books, and some external content around how to conduct rigorous implementation science research, what the study designs look like. There are a set of tools to help implementers for cancer control programs and how to implement resources. And then the piece that is probably of most interest is there's several online communities of practice where research groups are brought together to for the purpose of consortia building, but also to share strategies to implement projects. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to Gail.
Thanks, Paul. So I will briefly go over some resources that can be found on the NIAID website that are supported and provided by our institute. Oftentimes, the challenge is where to find the information and how to navigate the website. There are many ways to search for online resources. However, one straightforward way is to click on the Research tab on the main NIAID webpage. And then select for Search for Resources. This will take you to the Resources for Researchers page. For example, you could do a search by disease or condition, discipline or approach, such as bioinformatics or diagnostics, by research stages from basic, preclinical to translational, by resource type, such as analysis, reagents, even clinical research partnering networks, or search by one of our divisions, or you could even do a basic text search using keywords or phrases. Examples of resources include preclinical services supported by our Division of Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. This slide provides a short list of some of the services available for the research community, including the BEI repository. The BEI Resources Repository is a central repository that supplies organisms and reagents to researchers. Materials are available through an online catalog. For example, you can look for genomic RNA, SARS-CoV-2 reagents, and could select various organisms, including vectors. Users do not need to be a NIH grantee, and there is no charge for the materials. Shipping and handling fees may apply, and registration is required. It also facilitates collaboration opportunities as researchers can deposit material in the repository. Another example of resources available are on bioinformatics. The NIAID Bioinformatics portal is where you can find training resources, search services offered, including opportunities for scientific collaboration, and search for groups, projects, as well as upcoming seminars or events to join. There are also informational materials on research training opportunities provided by our Division of Extramural Activities for medical degrees and PhD tracks, and information on the NIH grant process. If there is interest in these PDF handouts, we can share them with the eAsia Secretariat. Now I will briefly mention about some NIH-wide online resources. So Report is the research portfolio online reporting tools. It's a way to find NIH projects and funding information. You can search by using the matchmaker to find similar projects and program officials associated with a particular project. You can search by location in the US and international sites, estimates of funding for various research, condition, and disease categories, and even look up some data and statistics as shown at the bottom of the slide, including on projects and major fields of studies of trainees, fellows supported by NIH programs. There's also the World Report, which is a mapping database project that highlights biomedical research investments and partnerships in different countries from about 12 funding organizations. It is not comprehensive, as some funding data are complex and difficult to capture, but the database includes quite a lot of information compiled by the Fogarty International Center at NIH. If there is interest in finding more information about the research being conducted in the intramural labs at NIH, the annual reports are publicly available through the NIH Intramural database. There are also these two links to the plethora of NIH resources and training opportunities for researchers. And the last slide highlights additional resources provided by the National Library of Medicine, NLM. You are all probably already familiar and use PubMed, but there are also online resources that are available and supported by NLM, including clinicaltrials.gov, which is a database of clinical studies conducted around the world. There is also the Literature Hub on COVID, SARS-CoV-2 GenBank data, and other data on chemicals and drugs. Thank you.
Is that the end of your presentation, Dr. Paul and Gail?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, we'll have 5 minutes for Q&A if anyone wants to ask any questions. At this moment, I still don't see anything in the Q&A, right? will we want to add something more, Dr. Paul and Gail? If we have this 5 minutes.
Well, I added a link to in the chat for the attendees and panelists because NCI, of course, has a similar set of online resources to what NIAID has, a searchable database within our website as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Anyone wants to ask any questions to Dr. Paul and Ms. Gail? Okay, if not, I think there's still a chance for audience to ask questions to the speakers in the Q&A box. So I invite Dr. Paul and Ms. Gail to check the Q&A box for a while, even after your presentation. Thank you so very much for your attendance, even if it's like 5:30 in the morning in the Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Please stay with us till as much as we can. Thank you. Okay, in that case, we'd like to proceed to our next speaker, who is Dr. Adam Chapman, Director of National Health and Medical Research Council, Nhmrc from Australia. His presentation title is Australian Online Researcher Databases. Dr. Adam, if we are ready, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Emmy. I'll just look at sharing my screen. Just use this one. I'll share. There we go. Okay, is everyone able to see that?
Yes, you can see. Just
all right. So
the presentation format.
Yes, I'm working off a PDF rather than a.
Okay.
I have a couple of other things I want to refer to. So yes, in comparison to what NIH has available, our databases and so on, while being useful and having quite a lot of information, aren't nearly as searchable or as sort of immediately accessible. But there are a couple of things that I'd like to talk about. So one of the reasons why, oops, it's gone right to another slide. Sorry. The one that's gone so far. So in terms of NHMRC data, the real challenges for us in terms of having a nice centralized, easy searchable database is we have to adhere to the Australian privacy principles and the Australian Privacy Act, which means that any personal information that's collected has to be, any use is directly related for the purpose for which it was collected. So while our grant application and management systems do have a lot of information and researchers do keep that current, we don't have any authority to reuse that for a different purpose. And of course, we have to go through various consent things to make sure that we can use that information. So that's one of the challenges for us. And then also, obviously, just the resourcing issue. We're a relatively small organization. So we don't, we're really mainly focused on delivering funding and writing guidelines and those kinds of things. So we don't have that. We don't have one centralized system for health and medical research that we manage. That said, there are a number of things that we do have, and the main one is the list of outcomes of NHMRC funding rounds, and I'll take you onto the website shortly. But every year we provide a listing of all recipients of our grant funding, and that's published in an Excel spreadsheet on our website, and it's updated after major announcements. So we have a range of announcements through the year as each of our different schemes are completed and announcements are made. And each time that happens, then that is updated with the details of the latest recipients. So we have all that information available on our website from 2013 onwards. And all that information, there's a lot of information in there. So the chief investigator name, the institution that is the administering institution for that grant, the grant title, the broad research area and field of research for particular grants. And there are also research keywords as well, which can be searched. And of course, it's in the Excel spreadsheet. So once you get into the spreadsheet, you can filter and sort it. There aren't any contact details or personal information, but generally you can usually work that out through a web search by looking at the institution and the chief investigator's name to find out any contact details through their institution website. So going to the NHMRC website, if we go, I'm on the right page now, but I will take us back to our landing page. Looks like this at the moment. To find our funding information, you go to the funding tab up at the top, and then you go down to data on research, and you click on that, and you'll see here there's outcomes of funding rounds. There's some other analysis of research publications and some general funding statistics and data, but that's quite that won't give you the kind of information generally that people are after if they're looking for collaborators. So if we click on this then gives some high-level information about the application rounds on an annual basis. There are some fact sheets available for our major schemes, but the ones that really where the information is all down here in the download section. And so you can see here summary of results for NHMRC 2020 grant application round, and that was last updated at the beginning of this year. So that has got all the information of any grants that were done last year. And then as you go down, you can see 2019, 2018, 17, 16, 15, 14, and 13. It comes up as a spreadsheet. I'm not on Excel, so it won't quite do all the Excel things, but you will get the idea. So there's a tab that gives you general notes of what the information on grants data. So you can see here, there's a range of, you've got the date of the announcement, the chief investigator's name, and then the grant scheme that it came under. And then for some of our grant schemes, there are subtypes. So for instance, Emerging Leadership 1 and 2 in our investigator grants, they're generally the ones that are focused on early career researchers. So if you were looking for early career researchers, that would be how you might want to do some of your searches. Then you'll see there's the grant title, the administering institution. It tells you which state it is, whether it's a university or a medical research institute, or in some cases, even a government organisation that has received the funding, and charities and philanthropies, which happens through some of our partnerships programs. Then there's usually the total funding of the grant, the broad research area and the field of research. So all of these can be searched on. And then there's also a series of keywords and a plain English language description. So that's the main, but of course you need to search and set up your search for each year for whatever you're looking for. But that's quite comprehensive, and it tells you everyone who has been funded by NHMRC recently. Then outside of NHMRC, the other key place is really we've got a few third-party online resources. One of those is the Australian Academy of Science, where you can search the people who have been admitted as fellows to the Academy of Science. So these are generally senior researchers, and that page is the Australian Academy of Science, and you click on the fellowship link here and it brings you to their academy page. And you can, if you know the name of the researcher, you can search by first or last name, but you can search for an expertise type. So for instance, if you wanted to find someone on cancer, you've now got some divisions here. So cancer biology, and then you can search, and you've got a range of other filters, and then you get some basic information that comes up here. It's not super detailed, but it at least gives you an idea of who the senior people in these fields are who are in the academy, and you can then look up where they are and then find their contact details from their relevant institution website, and also that way you can look up their CVs and so on. There's a similar academy, the Australian Academy of Health and Medical Science, which is our newest academy. They have a similar search function as well. The field sorting on expertise area hasn't been enabled yet, but that's due to come at some time soon. So they're the sort of key academies that are related to health and medical research. And then just looking, oh yeah, so biography, title and position are available at fairly high level. And then of course the other one, which most other countries will have, are the actual repositories and online databases and so on that are available through Australian universities and research institutes and their open access archives. And of course, they vary a little bit. You've got ones like this one at New South Wales, which you can search, and it has green open access in there. So there are some, there's, as well as sort of the usual PhD master's thesis, there are journal articles and so on. And then a number of other universities like ANU, Monash, etc. Also have, let's confuse a bit big, also have searchable databases for theses and so on as well. So that's really the available resources in Australia. So I'll leave it there. I'll see if I can share.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adam. I think it's really important for researchers to get to know about online researcher and research resources from Niaid and also from Nhmrc, because medical area is the one research area that we conduct corporate proposals almost every year. So this is a very powerful network that we are trying to build among researchers from across the countries. So we have some time for Q&A if anyone has any questions for Dr. Adam. Everything's very, very clear. No more questions. Okay, if that is the case, I request Dr. Adam to check the Q&A box for some time after your presentation, because somebody may type their questions in the Q&A box, as well as maybe in the chat, because one of the panelists said they cannot type in questions in the Q&A box as long as you're panelists. So in that case, we have to use the chat box for exchanges of Q&As between panelists. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Adam. Okay, our next speaker is Professor Harman, Director of Ministry of Research Technology, National Research and Innovation Agency, Ristek from Indonesia. His presentation title is Introduction of Indonesian Science Technology Index. Professor Harry, if we are ready, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Kaneko. Let me share the screen for my slide. Okay, wait. Okay. Okay. Here I would like to share about Indonesia Science and Technology Index, and we have nickname for this as SINTA. Yeah. So SINTA is Indonesia Science and Technology Index. In this SINTA, we have data collection, measurement, and impact of research output in Indonesia. In 2018, we start to build this system with the background that we have more than 300,000 of lecturer, researcher, and also so many scholars. And then we have more than 200 research institutions and more than 4,000 universities in Indonesia. So we collected research output data such as intellectual property, product and prototype, scientific publication, and also outcome and impact of the research such as citation, etc. And then by gathering this data, we start to analyze the data for the research performance. And until this time, we still develop the system. I would like to inform you the progress of this database. In this database, this Science Technology Index has interoperability with others database in Indonesia, such as, for example, the data for research grant in Indonesia. We call this Simliptamas. All research grant for the last 10 years, we have all in this data. And then we also connected with data from Ministry of Education for the data for researcher and faculty members in 4,000 universities. And then we connected with database from Directorate General of Intellectual Property, so we can interoperability the data for intellectual property into Science Technology Index. And then we connected with our national library, so we can connect the data about the books the authors is Indonesian researcher. And then we also connected with other funding agency, such as agency who manage the endowment fund for education and endowment fund for research, for example, LPDP. And we also connected with publication database in Scopus and Web of Science and also Google's. And we have repository data from a library and university for the final project of the student. And then we in Indonesia, we have about almost 6,000 national accredited journal. So we also connected interoperability with this system, so all the data can be read by the Sinta. And we have also other database for the reference such as Garuda. And then from all of this data, we analyze and make many statistics. And then from 2020, we also improve the measurement by considering, for example, technology valuation calculation, intellectual property, communal, herbal, and traditional knowledge, reviewer database, and also foreign research proposal review, because we have foreign research permit, all connected with this. And then the new database for scientific journal accreditation and new database for manuscript training for new beginning of for new faculty member. And then this is for an example, the analysis of the research output performance. For example, this is publication, benchmark between university, number of journal indexed by Sinta, and then the author institution all can be analyze the data, and also the benchmark between university in Indonesia, benchmarking between Indonesia and other country. And this is, for example, the author profile in this database. For example, we have this is Professor Yananto Sarno from Surabaya Institute of Technology. We can analyze his profile, everybody in the world. Yeah, if you want to know about Yananto Sarno, you can access our Sinta website. So you just search for him, and then you can find his profile just like this. Yeah, his publication, his citation, and then books, for example, IPR, and then with and also his network collaboration, co-authorship of the papers also can be found. And then from the faculty member, we can also analyze the subject. Yeah, for example, subject area for management, accounting, etc. Yeah, and this management field, for example, who is our researcher in Indonesia. So, for example, for Asia, if you want to find collaborators from Indonesia, you just access our website Sinta and then find related field, and you can analyze who is relevant for your field, and you can ask him for collaboration or ask her for collaboration, for example. And we also have, for example, in this field, we have how many researcher, yeah, how many professor in Indonesia, how many associate professor, how many senior lecturer, how many lecturer. So you can find it in this website. And also you can find the department analysis. Yeah, after field you can find specific department. For example, Department of Business Administration. Yeah, of course this is in Bahasa Indonesia, but you can guess. Yeah, administrasi business is mean business administration, just like that. Yeah, so you can find the performance of that department in case of the publication, citation, and then you can also find the database of the national journal, Indonesian journal in Indonesia. We have, at this time, we have more than 5,000 Indonesian local journal who already accredited in our system. And we divide the quality into 6 level. Yeah, S1 is mean the best. Yeah, level 1, level 2, level 3 until level 6. And then in this journal analysis, we can also access the article in this journal, open access, free to be downloaded by all Indonesian people, and everyone also, yeah, from all the world can download this article, but mostly in Indonesian, the article. But about more than 300 already in English. Yeah, and we have about 9 until this day. We have about 89 Indonesian journal who already indexed by Scopus. This is, for example, we have about 98 until today. Yeah, Indonesian journal who already indexed by Scopus. And then last year we have pandemic COVID, so we also developed new feature for COVID-19 research in Indonesia. You can find the progress of the research related to COVID, about the title, the topics, the people who do research about COVID in Indonesia. And then who update this Sinta data? We update by machine, synchronize all publication, other research output run automatically by machine. And then we also have administrators, yeah, to maintain the system. And until this time, we usually give our API, yeah, application programming interface, to our institution who need the data inside the Sinta, so they can do that by themselves to analyze and make their own statistics. For example, big university in Indonesia such as Gajah Mada University, ITS, ITB, yeah, already use this API services, and also funding agencies such as LPDP, and then database in Ministry of Education, Indonesia Science Institution, and also our local institution agency in province, for example, in Central Java also use this API, and all collaborators, also all our friend in the world, if you need the data in this Indonesia Science Technology Index, we can give you the API also, yeah, from this Indonesia Technology Index, so we can connect. Or if you only need to read, you can access the data, access the website. And now, yeah, this is still under the development, the beta version. Initially, we develop for Indonesia, and then now we try to develop for other countries. Yeah, for example, in Indonesia we have about more than 200,000 Indonesian researchers who already joined this database. Yeah, so from about 300,000, now about 233,000 faculty members in Indonesia already joined in the system, and you can find it. Yeah. So this data become very big, and yeah, we expect this data become a big data of Indonesia national research and innovation. Okay, so before I end my presentation, I would like to show you to demonstrate our website. Okay, this is, for example, you can access this website, sinta.ristekbrin.go.id. You can access this for free. Yeah. If you want register, you just register, and we can put also your data in this database. So if anyone want to find you and your expertise for collaboration, you can find it. Now more than 233,000 faculty members in Indonesia already in the system. Yeah. So you can find, for example, this is the profile of the publication. This is the profile of the Indonesian ranking of, not ranking, the position in the university. For example, this assistant ahli is mean in Japan maybe Josu, yeah, maybe research assistant, for example. And then rector, this means lecturer. Rector kepala is associate professor, yeah. And then this is professor. This is junior researcher, and also after this you can find, for example, authors. Yeah. For example, in this Asia forum, yeah, we have a scheme for international research collaboration, and you want to find who is prospective collaborators from Indonesia for your field, for example. So here, all area, for example, here in engineering, science engineering, you can find it, for example. You can click this and you can find the people, yeah. For example, this is in the health, in social science, yeah. So you can find it. And then after that, if you want to know more, yeah, about these people, for example, you just click this, and then his profile will be found. Yeah, this is overview. You can find if he has book. Yeah, if he has IPR, for example. How about his network? For example, yeah, For example, yeah. This is document in Indonesian local journal, for example, yeah. And yeah, you can find it. And also for the subject, you can find just like this, yeah. And for resources, if you want to find, for example, journal, yeah, in Indonesia, for example, yeah, you can find it, yeah. We have many journal. For example, this journal is indexed by Garuda, also indexed by Scopus. And you can find until maybe some journal not yet indexed by Scopus. This is all Indonesian journal, yeah, for example. S1 is mean Sinta level 1, yeah, for example. This is accredited in our Sinta, ranking 1, indexed by Scopus, and indexed by Garuda. Yeah, for example, you can find more. Yeah, for example, this one, this is for Sinta 1. Yeah, for example, and then you can find also, for example, Sinta 2. Yeah, here. Yeah, for this Sinta 2 have not yet indexed by Scopus. Yeah. But some of them are already in international journal. The manuscript in English, editor from multinational, and they start together to invite the publication from multinational also. So this is the introduction. Yeah, this is Indonesia. Yeah. And we established for Indonesia, but we have not yet established for other countries. But we try to develop for other. This blue one we start to develop. Yeah. So if anyone from this country want to register, we already have this beta version actually. But the at this time the running database by these Indonesian flags. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this database can can be useful for everyone who want to collaborate with Indonesian researcher. We are in the Ministry of Research and Technology has commitment to help you to facilitate the international cooperation, the research collaboration, to promote the quality of the research in Indonesia and also all collaborators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. I think Sinta is quite a sophisticated database in Indonesia. We have a few minutes for Q&A. I have a question from a colleague from Japan, Masashi. He says, now I tried Shinta and it is very interesting. My question is that if the data is limited in your country, when I put Suzuki, which is the most common name in Japan, the result is very few. So I think basically his question is, the Shinta database include only data of Indonesian researchers. I think you talked about that in your talk a little bit. So you're trying to expand, right?
Yes, I just explained that we just developed this from 2018. So for the last year, we only focus to collect or to build database for Indonesia. And then we also already thinking to expand this database for all countries in the world. Yeah. So for Indonesian database, we already established just to update and develop new feature. But for other country, we already developed the system also for ASEAN countries. Yeah. Yes. For ASEAN countries. But for these ASEAN countries, we need cooperation for all members. Yeah. So if you agree to use this system, yeah, you can ask your researcher to register, for example, first, yeah, so they can get a Sinta ID. By register their ID, for example, Sinta ID in our system, so our system will interoperability with their data, yeah. So and then all data will you can find in this Sinta database. The Sinta database interoperability by machine to all resources, yeah, just like that. So Mr. Hara, yeah, we can develop this, yeah, by for example with Japan, we can cooperate, yeah, to manage the system. So all Japanese researcher can, for example, enter to this database, and Indonesian can find Japan researcher can find Indonesian in the system. Yeah, thank you very much.
As a program secretariat of Asia Joint Research Program, we can assist you to disseminate this information to the rest of ASEAN member states, as well as other Asia participating countries like Japan, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and Russia. Yeah, I think we can have a discussion after this.
Okay. We're very glad. We will open this database for everyone, and
thank you.
We can select coordinator in each country, and then from a coordinator in each country, they can register the researcher into this database. After register, all will be connected by machine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll work on that, I'm very sure. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the Q&A box, but I ask Professor Harry to stay with us and check the Q&A box for a while, because the audience can type their questions in the Q&A box, and you can type in your replies as well. Okay, thank you very much. So now let us proceed to the next speaker, who are Mr. Nao Katsuya, Chief of Japan Science and Technology Agency, JST, and Mr. Masashi Hara, Manager of JST. Their presentation title is Researcher Database in Japan. Mr. Nao and Mr. Masashi, if you are ready, please go ahead.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay.
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 Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nao Katsuya from Japan Science and Technology Agency, Department for Information Infrastructure. I'm going to talk about a researcher's database in Japan, ResearchMap. This is the top page of ResearchMap. We also have an English page so that people from overseas can search for Japanese researchers. This slide shows its function and characteristics. We aimed to be a comprehensive database of researchers' information for researchers in Japan and Japanese researchers abroad. It is used by researchers as a place of dissemination of information, sharing information, and communication with other researchers. It can also support the making the database like the researcher directory and research achievement management system in universities and research institutions. It is also expected to be used as a database for analysis. ResearchMap is operated by JST, but it is developed by National Institute of Informatics on contract research from JST. This explains who can register. To register with ResearchMap, it needs to be researchers affiliated with a research institution in Japan or Japanese researchers. Doctoral students and research supporters such as administrative staff, URAs, and librarians are also to register. This graph shows the number of registered users of ResearchMap. The current number of registered users is about 318,000. Each year, we have more than 10,000 registrations. In 2018, there was a push from the government, which greatly promoted the registration of researchers. This is a list of the main items that can be registered on ResearchMap. Users can register items about profile information such as name, affiliation, job title, and research field, and items related to research achievement, such as papers, MISC, books, industrial property rights, and oral presentations. Also, other research-related activities, such as research funding projects, awards, teaching experience, social contribution activities can be registered. MISC is derived from miscellaneous and for research output such as preprint, presentation abstract, and technical report other than usual journal articles. Here is a graph showing the number of registrations per person for each item in research map. Name, affiliation, and ORCID ID are registered 1, while research area, research interested, research history, and education are registered 5 on average. On the other hand, there are about 40 entries for papers and oral presentations, indicating that there are main research achievements. This graph shows the registration rate for each item. The registration rate for profile information is high because of required fields, names, and affiliations are registered by almost all the users. But as for ORCID ID, which is an international researcher identifier, only about 6%. The number of ORCID ID users in Japan is estimated over 100,000, so we need to promote registration in the future. In the achievement items, you can see that about 70% of users have registered papers. Also, about 60% of the research funding project has been registered, which is a relatively high registration rate. On the other hand, industrial property rights are not registered very often, with less than 10%. This shows how to utilize research map data in other system or research activities. For example, there is a website called the JRP portal that is for the search for a new research job and position. Research map is linked to JRP portal, and user can create a resume using the data in research map. Also, there is a website called JGlobal, which is a cross-sectional search site for science and technology information in Japan. Research map has transferred data to JGlobal so that user can search for researcher with other scientific information in JGlobal. As you can see on the left, researcher can also use data in research map when applying for a research grant. In Japan, there are two main systems used to apply for research grants: review application and report the result after they have been accepted. Electronic application system for grants in aid for scientific research and ELAD. The e-application system for grants in aid for scientific research is linked to research map, and reviewer can refer applicant information in research map during the review process. In addition, researcher can use the information in research map when using ELAD to apply for research competition or report on own achievement. This is about the import from other database to research map. Research map is currently linked with the 11 databases shown here. Without manual input, own achievement can be accurately registered in Research Map with a few clicks. This explains that the data registered in Research Map can also be used by research institutions. For example, research institutions can import the data registered by researchers in Research Map and use it as data for the researcher directory and research achievement management system. Conversely, data collected by research institutions can be registered to Research Map, and researchers can use that data from Research Map in other web systems such as the one introduced earlier. Research Map offers such two ways, and the research institution can link Research Map data with their database as they prefer. This slide shows the number of research institutions as I explained by the previous slide. Currently, there are 241 research institutions using Research Map, and the graph shows the number of users by institution type. It looks that the usage rate of private universities are high. On the other hand, the graph below shows the rate of research institutions using Research Map in Japan by institution type. Of the 86 national universities in Japan, 70 are using Research Map, indicating that most of the national universities are using it. But the share of public and private universities in Japan is about 15%. I have just finished to introduce Research Map. As reference, here is information service currently operated by JST. In addition to the Research Map introduced here, we operate other services such as this. If you are interested, please contact us. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Now. There's a question for you, though I'm not too sure if it's relevant. It's about the questions from Nanik, who says, can you specify a little more what, sorry. Let me rephrase my question again. So can you specify, wait a minute, I cannot find this question. Oh, okay, let me try again. So he says, can we find researchers in education with whom we can collaborate? So I asked him again what he means by education, and he said it's about English curriculum because he wants to conduct like a comparative studies on English education between different countries. I'm not too sure if you can answer this question, but please try.
In the Research Map website, there is a search window, so you can put education or something, or also we have a detailed search window, so you can expand that window, and then you can put some words in some parts. So we don't all the users in Japan don't put the English information, but maybe you can see something, I hope. Thank you.
Okay. There's another question for myself. Do you have any analysis on users, like how many users are crossed from outside Japan to Research Map? Because I want to know how much this database has been utilized by international researchers besides Japanese researchers. 外国からのアクセスってどれぐらいありますか？
how many access from outside Japan, you mean? Sorry for waiting for you.
No worries.
Between 10 to 15% from outside Japan, the access coming from outside Japan.
Okay, 80% of access from inside Japan.
80%, yeah. 85%, 90% within Japan using.
Okay, remaining 10 to 15% from outside Japan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, because I don't see any other questions in the Q&A box, I think we can close this Q&A session, but please stay with us and check this Q&A box because there may be questions from the audience for you after your presentation. So thank you very much, Mr. Nao and Mr. Masashi from JST. Thank you. So now we'd like to proceed to our last but not least speakers for this information sharing session, who are Ms. Christine Dominique Zamora and Ms. Maria Violeta Intia, both from Research Information, Communication and Utilization Division of Department of Science and Technology, DOST-PCHRD. Their presentation title is Evidin Plus, your one-stop health information management platform. Ms. Christine and Ms. Maria, if you are ready, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Hello. Hello to eAsia member organization, eAsia Secretariat, and to more than 100 participants currently logged in. Okay. So I am Bel Impia from the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, an attached agency of the Philippine Department of Science and Technology. So my office is the national coordinating body for health research. So we provide central direction, leadership, and coordination of health research activities. So DOST-PCHRD is also the focal representative in the Western Pacific region Index Medicus of WHO. So HERDIN Plus, or the Health Research and Development Information Network platform of Unified Research Information System, is actually a tool for research institution on research information management. So this database is more than 30-year-old. So we just added new features and improved the system every time. So HERDIN Plus aims to assist research institutions to organize and manage institutional research output. It also aims to enhance and have better access to health and health-related research information. And the system also assists research-generating institutions generate reports for policy development, research and capacity building programs and activities. So we'll give you just a quick presentation of how HERDIN started. Okay, so more than 30 years ago, when a group of librarians in the Philippines pooled and shared library resources to help in improving access to health research information. So during that time, HERDIN contains published Philippine research articles from journals. 2012, when the Philippine Food and Drug Administration partnered with us to use the HERDIN to register all approved clinical trial studies from 2012 onwards. So currently, most of the researchers from the Philippines register their research in HERDIN Plus or Philippine Health Research Registry. Okay, so 2016, when the Philippine National Health Research System conducted an online data survey to conduct research information and generate report. So the following year, 2017, when PCHRD launched the project management system for online submission, evaluation, and approval and monitoring of these DOST PCHRD funded project. PCHRD PMS is also being utilized by DOST for all proposal submission. So to remember all different URLs and websites is not easy. So 2019, when PCHRD launched the Herdin Plus system. So to give our researcher and institution a one-stop information access to help research information. So all the database I mentioned can now be accessible in Herdin Plus or herdin.ph. Okay. So 2020, when local medical specialty or publishers and institution signed an MOU with PCHRD to upload full text of their journals and completed studies. Okay. So to date, ongoing discussion with the Commission on Higher Education to utilize the Herdin Plus system for easy report submission from HEI. So traditional knowledge and digital library will also be part of this system, same as the Philippine Health Research Ethics Portal. And yeah. Okay, so for the next development, we also plan to include in the system development a collaboration tool for researcher in institution for local and international benefit. Okay. So here are Herdin Plus features. Okay. So search and upload, using the system, you can search and upload, publish and ongoing research. So uh, there's also link to full text for local and international published research. So some full text published from journals can be downloaded or request to our website. So next is the um, researcher can upload or update their information such as yung expertise, research interests, affiliation, research conducted. So you can search for research expertise if you want to invite them as reviewer or consultant because their expertise is already included in the form. So right now, most of the information currently not viewable because the institution needs to collect consent from the researcher to make this viewable by the public. Okay, so the next, institution can also upload and update their information here. So the system also allows to generate information such as number of downloads and who cited your research within the Herdin Plus only. So institution information such as contact information, research budget, list of research and researcher, facilities and services for external and internal user. Okay, so the system covers health related research information. So Herdin Plus database gathers health research information as long as it is authored by a Filipino about Philippines or Filipinos. So another feature of the system is you can submit, track, monitor your proposal or ongoing projects using Herdin Plus system. So you're able to know who will be the project officer for the from PCHRD, and then you can also upload project files and know the status of your proposal. Um, this one, the next feature of the system of the database is all the approved clinical trials from the Philippine Food and Drug Administration can be searchable. So ongoing research from local researcher can also register here. So for the Herdin Plus features, which is most of the policymaker, this is for most of the policymakers. So the monitoring evaluation for the Philippine health research system can be accessed also here. So institution can build and organize their health research information and able to submit report to the national government and other institution requesting for their information, because there are a lot of institution collects information from the institution. That's why this system assists them um, in using the system. Okay. This system will also the system will also allows health research generating institution to submit their health and health related information for monitoring of their performance and target for the consortia. So the Philippine National Health Research System were able to monitor the performance and targets of the consortia for possible development of activities and programs. So users of the system are actually all institutions conducting health and health related research. So this can be the higher education institution, the research and development institution, and the regional consortia for health research and development, and the other institution or organization, yung mga specialty societies, the health-related association, and the researcher in general. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I invite questions for her, if there's any. Anyone wants to ask questions to Ms. Maria? Everything's very clear. Just a gentle reminder from me to Professor Harry and Ms. Nao and Masashi. So you have a question in the Q&A box, so you please type in your reply to this question. Okay. So if there's no questions for Ms. Maria, then thank you very much for your presentation. And we'd like to proceed to the fun part, which is the discussion session. So let us first invite Yoshi once again to present the discussion points for facilitating cross-country networking. Yoshi, please.
Okay, so again, I will show my presentation slide. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yeah. The beginning of this session, I'd like to show the Secretariat proposal on the collaboration of online resources. As I showed in the report of survey results in my previous presentation, EHF funding member organizations from 9 countries show their interest of simple collaboration of online research and research resource collaboration. Considering with this result, the EHF Secretariat drafted the simple collaboration idea. We think that we can take measures at both EHF JRP website and also member organizations website. As for the EHF JRP website, firstly, we think we can create a web page which summarizes information about online resources shared by EHF member organizations, like information today. And this is a similar idea proposed from NIAID or NCI of the United States in the survey answer from them. And information which we would like to collect from EHF member organization and post on the web page are the 3-point URL of the link and instructions on how to use those resources, especially how to find the collaborators in those resources. And third one is the contact point for inquiries. If we could post such a kind of instructions, not only the URL link, it will be helpful for researchers who are not familiar with those resources or database in other countries. Information will be reviewed and updated on an annual basis. And secondly, we will create a FAQ page where we introduce above online resource web pages to answer inquiries, such as how researchers can find collaborators in other countries. And thirdly, we also add FAQ information in the core guidelines of each EASA call for proposal too. And as for the measure at the EASA member organization's website, we hope each funding member organization to do is that they are making a link to the above EASA online resource web page. These measures are very simple, but I think it's very realistic and practical to start in line with the current preference of EASA funding member organizations. If there is any other suggestions, it's also welcome. And lastly, this time in this webinar, we have considered utilization of online research-related resources to tackle with the common challenges that how to facilitate cross-country networking between researchers. But as other approach, EASA JRP and EASA funding member organization also often organize workshops to give researchers an opportunity for networking with researchers in other countries directly. But this approach is beneficial only for a very limited number of researchers who join the workshop. And furthermore, in the current COVID-19 pandemic situation, we also organize webinar instead of face-to-face workshop, but we are wondering if the webinars can be as useful as face-to-face workshop. So in addition to these two approaches, if there are any other ideas or suggestions from EASA member organizations or audience as how we can facilitate cross-country networking between researchers, then we are welcome very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will pass to
Thank
the
you,
Yoshi
Yoshi, for your presentation. So as Yoshi just mentioned, like organizing a workshop is like a traditional and conventional way for the EASA Program Secretariat to facilitate networking among researchers. But of course, we cannot invite too many, number of researchers, maybe like 20 or 30 researchers invited to one workshop. So of course, that's not enough number. So our second approach was that which is really the purpose of this seminar today, that we should make available online resources on researcher and research. Disclose to each other what we have and try to share these, resources together. So easiest way is for us to show all these, links on EASA website as well as on the websites of each member of EASA General Research Program. But of course, the purpose of this particular discussion session is that we want to invite more, proposals, inputs, comments, opinions from the attendees of this workshop, particularly from those of you who are present from EASA member organizations. We have authorized you to have the panelist status on this Zoom webinar. so that you can please go ahead, turn on your video, unmute yourself, and give us inputs. For those of you who are present from universities and research institutes as viewers, audience, you please click raise hand button when you have any inputs or comments, so that I can authorize you to unmute yourself. So anyone wants to volunteer to start the discussion?
I'm happy just to throw in a couple of comments. I think the idea of just I guess having a single reference point website at the EASA thing is a good idea. A bit of a I guess bringing together of the resources that we've seen here this evening, and then I think in terms of the workshops, as you said, you know, face-to-face ones are going to be very difficult for a little while, but also just looking at the number of people that are at this seminar, there's 118 or so participants. So it's quite a good reach. And I think as an initial scoping thing, it's quite a good way to do this. And then potentially being able to do these sort of things, you know, well ahead of a next EASA call. Once we have an idea of where the topics are, maybe organise, you know, 1 or 2 sort of online seminars. They don't have to be very long, an hour or so, just so that people can kind of bring in ideas. There may be a way to look at that, but I think that's a good way to get some fast collaboration and potential collaborations going, and at least raise the awareness, and so that if it doesn't come off first attempt, it can come off at a subsequent year or so on. So I think so far the suggestions are good, and I think there can be some refinement on that online seminar to make it work quite well without it being a big sort of resource and time drain.
Thank you, Dr. Adam, for your comments. There's you know, challenges and opportunities about online seminars. But anyway, the opportunities are that we can invite as many viewers as we want to online seminars, even though the setting of the timing is a little bit a challenge, because, you know, for example, even for today, we invited, you know, Gail and Paul from Washington to be attending this seminar when it's like 6 a.m. in the time zone. But still, we can try to find out a good time slot for everyone to be able to attend. Yeah. Any other inputs from anyone? If you are one of the panelists, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. Maybe I think one option for us is that we can work on Professor Harry's, you know, suggestion that we can try to, you know, utilize their database to include as much information as possible from countries, you know, outside Indonesia. I think that's quite practical and something that we should definitely explore. Yeah.
So one audience is raising hand. Mr. Fajar.
Yeah, is it Father Suryarian? If you want to give us any input, I can. How to unmute him? Okay, here. Can you unmute yourself and give us comments, Fazia?吉出さん、ミュート解除できますか、彼を。
ミュート解除したんですけど、最終的にその向こうが、解除を求めるしかできないです。
Can you unmute yourself and speak if there's anything you want to share? Meanwhile, I invite anyone else to give your input as well. If you're one of the panelists, you can just unmute yourself. If you're one of the viewers, then please click on the raise hand button so that I can offer you to unmute yourself.
Amy-san,
Yes.
the NSF of Sri Lanka put the information, additional information of their website or something. So how about to give them, in the chat box. So how about to give them ask them any comment?
Okay, can I invite Chamika from Sri Lanka to share what he or she just shared in the chat box? Chamika?
Hello.
Hello. Can you try to speak louder a little bit?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. It's really good to share this experience with the countries, and the Indonesian system is very comprehensive, and I think it's a kind of a role model for us and the JST also. Currently, we have introduced a new system. We were operating since 2004, and now we have, being a small country, we have 6,700 registrants in the system. Basically, we allow anyone with a science degree doing research to register with us. We promote collaboration within the country and with the other countries as well. Basically, we provide all the information for any request. If someone wants to have information about particular expertise, we search for them, we do the customized search and produce reports. Currently, the main challenge is the rate of updating, because I think the Indonesian system is based on API. We don't have such automatic updating system. I think we should go for that. We do provide the links for other social media like Google Scholar and other media sites, but we don't have the API. I think we should explore that opportunity as well. So as a member country, I wish all the countries can use this, because it's a publicly accessible information system, and you may find collaboration opportunities with the expertise there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also have a question in the chat box from Gray, I think. Will it be possible for each JRP member organization to identify a contact office where scientists could seek information about potential collaborators in a specific field and in the member organization's country? These offices could link inquiries to websites or other resources, or even individual scientists if possible. Okay. Yeah, it's been always a problem for researchers to find their, potential partners in, different countries. And of course, this seminar is like one of the endeavors we jointly, conduct together. And as a program secretariat of EAJ Joint Research Program, then we can try to, we can of course ask member organizations of EAJ to identify their contact point for, for researchers to ask whatever questions in, in their endeavor to find potential collaborators. But, we cannot, of course, make it mandatory. So we have to ask for their, voluntary work to do. I mean, they can decide whether or not they want to do that. So whatever replies we get from them, we'll try to share that among stakeholders. Yeah. So I think so far we had options of sharing these online resources on researchers and research activities. trying to organize online workshops because it is a good way to invite many researchers for networking. Third option, we can ask member organizations to appoint someone to be the contact point so that researchers can, send their questions to in their endeavor to, finding potential research partners. Yeah. Can anyone think of any other options? This is a brainstorming kind of discussion. So whatever come across your mind, you can share with us so that we can discuss the practicality of the option. Anyone want to share any idea, whether it's creative or wild or whatever? Oh, I have a response from Dr. Lily from NSTDA that she agrees to my conclusion. Okay, that's a good idea. That's good. That's good to hear. Okay. I had a question in the Q&A box, which says, to all presenters, could you share your presentation materials? So for that, my colleague Yoshio will be contacting each of the presenters to check if it's okay for them to share their presentation files. Maybe you noticed that we have this session video recorded. So if presenters agree, we can disclose the YouTube link of this video recording on the EASA website. Yeah. Okay. I think this is the last chance to share your comments or inputs, if anyone has any. Okay, everyone's happy? No more questions or comments? Okay, seems none. Okay, in that case, we'll be proceeding to the closing session. But before that, can I invite Yoshi, you please stop sharing your screen, yes, so that speakers and panelists can turn on your video so that we can take a group photo. Can I invite speakers and panelists to turn on your video? Speakers and these officials from the EASA member countries. I see some familiar faces. Okay, everyone turn on your video if you're a speaker or panelist. Gray, you want to turn on your video? Oh, let's see, Yaroslav. Okay, good. Who else we are missing? Okay. So my colleagues Yoshi and Masayoshi, they have a very similar name, Yoshi and Masayoshi. Okay, so they'll be your cameraman. So
yeah, we will get snapshot
to show your battery, maybe a few more. Okay, Dr. Vince, you want to turn on your video? Okay, maybe a couple more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe this is the last one. So I need your best mark. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much for this photo session. Okay, So thank you very much. This really marks the end of this seminar. I believe it was quite. Thank you for your great contributions. So today is the 11th of March. I wonder if this date strikes you in any way. Yes, today is the 10th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. Did anyone remember that? 10th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. I can clearly remember the 11th of March 2011. How strong was the quake? How trains all stopped so that I was forced to walk back home, maybe 6 kilometers from my office to my residence. How shocked I was to find about death of 16,000 people, mostly caused by tsunamis. And how worried I was about the development of the accident at the nuclear power plants. The whole event was truly unforgettable. As a Japanese person, I was a bit ashamed at one point. Why such a developed and tech-oriented country like Japan could not prevent this aftermath of the earthquake from happening? However, if I try to look at the positive side of the whole event, it taught us the importance of science-based policymaking, that science is meant for the betterment of society, and that it probably doesn't hurt if we try to, enhance connectivity among each other. It is a mission of the EASA Program Secretariat, including myself and Yoshi, that we pave the way for researchers from different countries to collaborate and coexist. Today's seminar is a small step, but a small step forward. I count on each and every one of you for our joint endeavor. So thank you very much once again. Thank you very much, so very much for your great contribution. Have a good day or good evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, Emi-san. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yoshi-sensei. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
day to everyone.
Thank you. Good
Hope
day.
success for all activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, stay safe, everyone. Thank you.じゃあ一旦こちらは切りましょうか。
はい。はい。
ホストが切れば多分全部終了
いいですか、じゃあ。
はい。どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。
失礼します。
お疲れ様です。